Imagine for a moment that the secret to unparalleled success lies not in the grand proclamations you make, but in the silent actions you take. Today, I want to share with you a principle that has been a cornerstone of achievement for many great individuals. Never tell people what you will do next year. This isn't merely a catchy phrase. It's a profound strategy grounded in timeless wisdom. Let's explore why keeping your plans to yourself can be the key to unlocking extraordinary success. Success, my friends, thrives in silence. Not because it seeks to be secretive or mysterious, but because it requires time and space to grow. Think of success as a seed planted quietly in the soil. It begins its journey beneath the surface, without announcing itself to the world. It doesn't demand attention or validation. Instead, it works steadily and silently, drawing nutrients from the earth, growing stronger each day until, one day, it emerges tall and robust for all to see. Yet so many of us feel compelled to share our every move, our every plan, and our every ambition. We announce our intentions loudly, seeking recognition and approval. We crave the thrill of proclaiming, "Look at me, I'm on my way." But here's the paradox. The more you talk about your plans, the less energy you have to execute them. It's a strange phenomenon, isn't it? Sharing too much can drain the very momentum you need to succeed. In my years of experience in business and personal development, I've witnessed this play out time and time again. People brimming with grand ideas and noble ambitions often talk themselves out of their very goals. How does this happen? By sharing too many details too soon, they expose their dreams to the cold winds of doubt, criticism, and distraction. Before they realize it, the fire that once burned so brightly within them has been extinguished by the very act of speaking about their aspirations. Today, I want to introduce you to the philosophy of keeping your plans close to your chest. Not out of secrecy, but out of wisdom. This approach emphasizes action over words, focus over fanfare, and results over recognition. At the end of the day, it's not what you say you'll do that matters. It's what you actually accomplish. There's a subtle yet powerful relationship between intention and action. Every time you share your intentions, your goals, your dreams, or your plans with others, you're releasing a part of that energy. You're giving away a piece of the fire that fuels your actions. Often it's better to keep that fire contained, stoked quietly within your own mind, rather than exposed to the world prematurely. One simple reason to keep your plans private is that when you tell people what you're going to do, you create an illusion of progress. You say, "I'm starting a new business," or "I'm going to lose 20 pounds," and the people around you nod and smile, maybe even clap in encouragement. It feels good, doesn't it? That sense of approval and validation is intoxicating. But here's the danger. Your mind can mistake that approval for accomplishment. You haven't actually done anything yet, but you've already tasted a bit of the reward. What happens next is the urgency to act diminishes. The fire cools, and the dream that once seemed so vivid and full of possibility starts to feel like something you've already achieved in your mind. You settle into a state of comfort, and the real, difficult work that turns the dream into reality gets postponed. This is how dreams die in the cradle of good intentions. Some might argue, isn't it good to share your plans? Doesn't it keep you accountable? Accountability indeed has its place, but only with the right people and at the right time. Not everyone who hears your plans will understand them. Some will question your motives or doubt your abilities. They might not say it outright, but their skepticism can linger like a shadow over your ambition. If you're not careful, that shadow can seep into your own thinking, leading you to second-guess yourself. Now, I'm not saying you should never share your ideas. No, that's not the point. The point is to share selectively, thoughtfully, and only when the time is right. Protect your vision in its early stages, much like a gardener protects young plants from frost. Share your plans with people who will nurture them, not trample on them. Seek out mentors or close friends who genuinely want to see you succeed. But even then, keep the details to a minimum. Don't let your ideas become a spectacle before they've had a chance to grow. There's an undeniable power in doing the unexpected and letting your results speak for themselves. Imagine you've been quietly working on a project for months, perhaps even years, without saying a word to anyone outside your trusted circle. Then, one day, you unveil the finished product, a completed goal, a shining achievement. The impact is far greater than if you'd been talking about it all along. People marvel at what you've accomplished because it emerged seemingly out of nowhere. It's a reminder that action is always more impressive than words. Let me share a couple of stories to illustrate this principle. Years ago, I knew a young man who was eager to start his own business. He was full of ideas and enthusiasm and couldn't wait to tell everyone about it. At every opportunity, he'd go on and on about his plans, what he was going to do, how successful he was going to be, how his life was about to change. People listened politely at first, but over time, their skepticism grew. Months passed, and nothing happened. The more he talked, the less people believed in him. Eventually, he stopped believing in himself. Contrast that with another man I knew, a farmer from the Midwest. He had a vision to transform his small family farm into a thriving enterprise. Instead of talking about it, he simply got to work. He read books, studied successful farmers, and quietly implemented new techniques and technologies. He didn't announce his plans. He let his results do the talking. When the time came to sell his crops, he shocked everyone with the quality and quantity of his harvest. People asked how he did it, and he simply smiled and said, "By working when no one was watching." There's a valuable lesson in these two stories. The less you talk, the more time and energy you have to act. The less you seek validation, the more confidence you build within yourself. And the less you share your plans prematurely, the more control you have over your own narrative. It's not about secrecy, it's about strategy. It's about understanding that your dreams are worth protecting, and that your actions will always speak louder than your words. How often have you shared a plan or a goal with someone only to feel the motivation slip away afterward? How often have you let the opinions of others influence your path? These are important questions because they reveal how much power we give away when we speak too soon. The good news is you can reclaim that power. You can choose to focus on action, guard your dreams, and let your success be the thing that speaks for you. The world is full of noise, opinions, distractions, unsolicited advice. When you start sharing your dreams too freely, you invite that noise into your life. You open the door to criticism, doubt, and even envy. These are forces that can derail even the best laid plans if you're not careful. Consider this. When you tell someone about your big idea, How often do they respond with genuine enthusiasm and support? Sometimes they do, but often people respond with caution, skepticism, or even subtle discouragement. They might say, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Or, "That sounds risky." Or, "I knew someone who tried that and failed." These comments might seem harmless, but they can plant seeds of doubt in your mind. And doubt, my friends, is a dangerous thing. It can grow quickly and choke the roots of your ambition. But it's not just the doubters you need to watch out for. There are also the envious, the people who resent your ambition because it reminds them of what they haven't accomplished. They might not say it outright, but their subtle negativity can drain your energy just the same. And then there are the well-meaning advisors, the ones who genuinely want to help, but end up confusing you with conflicting opinions and unsolicited suggestions. All of this noise can pull you away from your original vision, leaving you scattered and uncertain. This is why discretion is so powerful. When you keep your plans to yourself, you're protecting your focus. You're creating a quiet space where your ideas can grow, free from the interference of others. It's like building a greenhouse for your dreams, a place where they can flourish in the right conditions until they're strong enough to face the elements. Momentum is a precious thing. It's the forward motion you create when you take consistent, purposeful action toward your goals. And momentum thrives in silence. When you focus on doing the work rather than talking about the work, you build a rhythm. Each small step you take reinforces the next, and before you know it, you've made significant progress. But when you start talking about your plans prematurely, you disrupt that rhythm. You shift your focus from action to explanation, from doing to justifying. Every moment you spend explaining yourself is a moment you're not moving forward. It's like trying to drive a car while constantly stopping to show people where you're going. You lose speed. And worse, you lose the sense of purpose that comes from staying in motion. Let me share another story. A friend of mine decided to write a book, a lifelong dream of his. Instead of announcing his plans to the world, he quietly set a goal to write 500 words a day, every day, until the book was finished. He didn't tell anyone what he was doing, not even his closest friends. He just worked day after day in silence. Months later, he finally shared his book with a small circle of trusted people. Their reaction was pure admiration. They were amazed at what he had accomplished, not just because the book was good, but because he had done it without seeking attention or validation. When the book was published, it was a success, not because of any grand announcements, but because the work spoke for itself. Now, let me tell you about another friend of mine, someone who was equally passionate about writing. Instead of getting to work, he spent months talking about his plans. He'd call with updates, share outlines, and ask for opinions on every little detail. The more he talked, the less he wrote. And eventually, the project fizzled out. Why? Because he spent all his energy seeking approval instead of building momentum. There's a powerful lesson in these two stories. Action breeds confidence, while too much talking breeds hesitation. When you take consistent action, even in small doses, you prove to yourself that you're capable. You build a track record, a sense of accomplishment that fuels your progress. But when you talk too much, you get stuck in the realm of possibilities. What could be, what might be, without ever crossing the bridge to reality. Now, some of you might be thinking, isn't feedback important? Don't I need input from others to make my ideas better? And the answer is yes. Feedback is invaluable, but it has to come at the right time and from the right people. Not everyone is qualified to give you constructive input, and not every stage of your journey is the right time to seek it. Early on, when your vision is still taking shape, it's better to focus on the work itself. Once you've made progress, once you've built something tangible, that's the time to invite feedback from those you trust and respect. I once worked with a man who was incredibly gifted at spotting opportunities. He had a knack for seeing potential where others saw obstacles. But he had one fatal flaw. He couldn't stop talking about his ideas. Every time he came up with a new concept, he'd rush to share it with anyone who would listen. More often than not, someone else would act on the idea before he did. He gave away his advantage by revealing his plans too soon. Contrast that with another businessman I knew, a quiet, unassuming fellow who rarely talked about what he was working on. He wasn't flashy or boastful, but he had a remarkable ability to execute. While others were busy talking, he was busy building. When he unveiled his work, it was always impressive, well thought out, polished, and ready for the world to see. He didn't need to announce his intentions because his results spoke louder than words ever could. This brings us to another key principle. Results are your best advertisement. When you achieve something significant, people will take notice without you having to say a word. Your success will naturally attract attention, and that attention will be far more meaningful than anything you could have generated by talking about your plans prematurely. Think of it as a ripple effect. Your actions create waves that reach far and wide, touching people in ways that words never could. There's another reason to keep your plans private, one that's often overlooked: the power of focus. When you share your plans with others, you're not just giving away energy, you're also inviting distractions. People will start asking questions, offering suggestions, and sharing their own ideas, which can pull you in a dozen different directions. Before you know it, you've lost sight of your original goal, and your once clear vision has become muddled. Focus is one of the most precious resources you have. It's what allows you to channel your energy toward a single point, to cut through the noise, and to make real progress. The best way to protect your focus is to limit the number of people who have access to your plans. The fewer voices you have in your ear, the easier it is to stay on track. Imagine applying this principle to your own life. Imagine starting a new project, a business, a creative endeavor, or a personal goal, and telling no one about it. Imagine working quietly and steadily without seeking validation or approval. What might you accomplish in that space of silence? How much further could you go without the weight of outside expectations? This is the essence of what we're discussing today. The freedom to work on your own terms, the power to let your actions speak louder than your words, and the wisdom to protect your dreams until they're ready to be shared. It's not about being secretive or aloof. It's about being intentional. It's about recognizing that your dreams are precious and that not everyone deserves a front row seat to your journey. There's something profoundly liberating about moving in silence. It frees you from the weight of external expectations and allows you to operate on your own terms. When you announce your plans to the world, you put yourself under a spotlight. Suddenly, people are watching, waiting, and maybe even judging. That pressure can be stifling, especially in the early stages of a project, when things are still uncertain and fluid. Success is rarely a straight line. It's a journey of trial and error, of of taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. When you're under the public eye, those setbacks can feel magnified. Every misstep becomes a potential point of criticism, every delay a source of scrutiny. But when you keep your plans private, you give yourself the freedom to fail quietly, to learn from your mistakes without the added burden of outside opinions. This is why discretion isn't just a strategy. It's a gift you give to yourself. It's a way of creating a safe space where you can experiment, grow, and refine your ideas without distraction. And here's the beautiful thing. When you're not seeking approval or validation, you become more connected to your own instincts. You start to trust yourself more deeply, to rely on your own judgment rather than the opinions of others. You might ask, but how do I know if I'm on the right track, if I'm not sharing my plans? The key is to strike a balance. Seek feedback from trusted mentors and close friends who have your best interests at heart. These are the people who will provide constructive input without casting doubt or sowing seeds of hesitation. They are your allies, not your detractors. When you do seek feedback, ensure it's at the right time and from the right sources. Early on, when your vision is still taking shape, focus on the work itself. Once you've made tangible progress, invite feedback from those you trust. This way, you can refine your ideas and improve your strategies without exposing your dreams to unnecessary scrutiny. When you let your actions speak louder than your words, you create a ripple effect. Your quiet success inspires others, not because of what you said you were going to do, but because of what you actually accomplished. Your journey becomes a testament to the power of focus, discipline, and quiet determination. You show others that it's not about how loudly you proclaim your intentions. It's about how steadfastly you pursue them. As you move forward, I challenge you to embrace this philosophy. The next time you set a goal, resist the urge to announce it to the world. Instead, channel that energy into action. Write it down, make a plan, and take the first step quietly, deliberately, and with full focus. Remember, the goal isn't to impress others with your intentions. It's to impress yourself with your accomplishments. There's a profound satisfaction in knowing that your success isn't built on empty promises or loud declarations. It's built on consistent, purposeful action taken in silence. When you succeed, your achievements carry a weight and substance that words alone could never convey. You'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you didn't just talk about your dreams, you made them a reality. Keeping your plans private isn't about withholding or hiding. It's about understanding the value of your energy and focus. It's about protecting the fragile beginnings of your dreams, nurturing them in silence until they're strong enough to stand on their own. It's about recognizing that action is far more powerful than words, and that results speak louder than any announcement ever could. When you choose to keep your plans to yourself, you're making a statement, not to the world, but to yourself. You're saying, I trust my ability to see this through. I don't need applause to get started. I don't need permission to pursue my goals. That kind of confidence is rare, and it's incredibly powerful. It gives you the freedom to act without fear, to learn from your mistakes without judgment, and to grow at your own pace. And here's the beautiful part. When you succeed, you'll inspire others. Not by what you said you were going to do, but by what you actually did. Your actions become a beacon, a reminder to others that real progress comes from focus, discipline, and quiet determination. You'll show them that it's not about how loudly you proclaim your intentions. It's about how steadfastly you pursue them. So, as we conclude, remember this: success doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need a spotlight or a stage. It grows quietly, steadily, in the moments when no one is watching. Guard your dreams, nurture your focus, and let your actions speak for themselves. This is the path to true success, and it's a path worth walking. Embrace the power of silence. Embrace the wisdom of discretion, and watch as your dreams take root and flourish, unencumbered by the noise of the world. Your journey is yours alone, and in that quiet determination, you'll find the true essence of success. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, keep your plans close, your actions deliberate, and your focus unwavering. Here's to your success, quietly achieved and profoundly impactful.